Check this.
YouTube, are you ready? And again, guys, we are back in the commentary box on the Contenders Corner Podcast, and this is your host, Jason, to bring to you a Impact Rebellion pay-per-view review here. So let's talk wrestling here on YouTube. Just guys, like, subscribe, and support us on YouTube, and don't forget to turn on them notifications. Yes, guys, we're wearing our Contenders Corner Podcast t-shirt here, and here we are back on the air for another review, and this is Impact Rebellion, guys, and it was heavy indeed, and we are going to be talking wrestling today. And the match card is as follows. We've got the Rich Swann versus Kenny Omega in a titles versus titles match. Everything on the line. We've got the Impact titles on the line and the AEW World Championship on the line as well. We also have Finn Juice versus the Good Brothers in an Impact for the Impact Tag Team titles. Deonna Purazzo versus Tennile Dashwood for the Impact Knockouts title. Brian Myers versus Matt Cardano. Fire and Flava versus Jordynne Grace and Rachel Ellering for the Impact Knockout Tag Team titles. TGP versus Ace Austin versus Josh Alexander for the X Division title. VBD versus Storm, Sabin, Edwards and Mace. And Sami Callihan versus Trey, Miguel in a last man standing match. And lots to talk about, guys. Lots to talk about. But again, the main event is what is everyone is talking about. It was a shocker, guys. Fantastic pay-per-view. But let's get this under the way. And again, for the first time ever, the Impact Wrestling and AEW World titles were up for grabs in the highest stakes match in recent history as Rich Swann battled Kenny Omega in the main event of the Rebellion pay-per-view last night. And the epic encounter headlined a show that saw everyone on Impact's titles at stake. We saw the Deonna Purazzo defend her title, Ace Austin and the New Japan's Wrestling David Finlay and Juice Robinson. Again, lots to talk about, guys. Lots at stake, and there was a lot of title matches here on Rebellion. But first off, we got the X Division Championship three-way. TGP versus Josh Alexander and Ace Austin. And again, the results here. Alexander defeated TGP and Austin to win the title. So your new champion is Josh Alexander. Is your new X Division champion. And Austin was not like staying in and around the action and ensuring his title reign would not come to an end without being involved in the fall. That is exactly what happened, as his bodyguard fought and eliminated TGP from the proceedings, but forgot to neutralise Alexander, who culminated his singles journey with a huge championship victory to kick off the show. The headgear wearing Canadian badass has steadily built his own reputation after the departure of All Ego Ethan Page brought about the demise of the North. Now he has the opportunity to carry championship gold and prove it was he, not Page, who was the team's breakout star in waiting. There will be those who question why Austin lost the titles so soon after winning it, and the answer is simple. He doesn't need it. After spending part of 2020 in the main event scene, earning his way into the Impact World title picture around the time of Slammiversary, he has the potential for bigger things than an X Division that it can be argued he has outgrown. Time will tell though. But again, awesome match, back to back, and a great match to kick this off, guys. And again, I'm going to give this a a 3.7 out of 5. Fantastic match to start it off. And again, we have the 8-man tag match. VBD, Storm, Sabin, Edwards and Mace in an 8-man tag match. And your winners here, Violent by Demise and Morrissey defeated Edwards, Sabin, Storm and Mac. And again, Morrissey made his debut here. And this was about as impressive a debut as you can have asked for out of Morrissey. The former Big Cass was utterly dominant. In a match with former world champions and veteran talent, he stood out and was the clear star with renewed focus and a determination to prove the industry has not passed him by. He already looks like the most unstoppable force in the company. How the creative team follows up Sunday's showing will determine the long-term success of Morrissey, but there is absolutely no denying that he could not possibly have enjoyed a better, more effective or greater star-making performance than he did here. And an impressive start for Morrissey, known as Big Cass in WWE, guys, and an utter dominant display of action by Morrissey, and impressive stuff so far. I will be watching Morrissey as he moves on. And again, it was Violent by Demise and Morrissey who defeat Edwards, Sabin, Storm and Mac. And I'm going to give this a strong 3.7 out of 5, guys. Matt Cardano versus Brian Myers. And this was no, it weren't. And it was Myers who defeated Cardano. And this was I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5, guys. And Cardano and Myers had the opportunity to prove all the naysayers wrong with their performance tonight. Well, on Sunday, they had the chance to prove to their previous employers that they could be single stars at a level they never got to achieve elsewhere. For the most part, they did, turning in a technically sound, very solid contest. The meat of the segment was the finish, which presented Myers as a conniving, scheming and ruthless heel. He was great in that moment and even before, as he sold the hell out of everything Cardano threw at him. In kind, the babyface showed great fire and grit as he fought back, only to have his body fail him and his former friend execute a sickening cheap shot. The feud will continue as it should and ultimately lead to the hotter, high-profile blow-off it deserves. And fantastic action again, guys. It was back-to-back. There was lots of stuff to talk about here. And great, guys. Great stuff from Miles and Cardano. It was entertaining. It's a fun match. And I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. And then we have the Knockouts Tag Team Championship match. And it was Ellering and Grace who defeated Fire and Flava to win the Knockouts Tag Team titles. And again, we'll give this a 2.5 out of 5. Grace doesn't get nearly enough credit for being as good as she is. And again, underused and underrated. She was very much the glue that held this one together. Always in the right spot at the right time. She does the little things so well and has a greater command of timing than others in the division. She was great here, even as the attention was elsewhere. Ellering was explosive and energetic, clearly feeding off the adrenaline the match brought with it. There was a moment or two when she was a step off, but that will come with more consistent presence in the ring. She brought what she needed to on this night, and her win with Grace sets them up, guys, to be queens of the tag team division that figures to revolve around the foreseeable future. At least one can hope. Fire and Flava are too good to fall out of contention, and we could see a rematch in the future. Again, great match. Jordynne Grace, very underrated, and great talent, guys, great talent. I really do hope we could see Jordynne Grace in either an AEW ring or WWE in the future. Then we have the last man standing match, Trey Miguel versus Sami Callihan. And this was Miguel defeated Callihan, and I'll give this a 3.6 out of 5. The object of this entire feud was to show Miguel's passion, and this match reflected it a lot, guys. Callihan did any number of vicious, vile things to put his opponent down, but Miguel repeatedly fought back, showing a lot of heart. He survived and advanced, entering the draws, created violence with the will to fight. When the opportunity presented itself, he seized an opening and did just enough to win the match. The resiliency he exhibited proved Callihan wrong, but the finish may not be enough to definitively end the rivalry here. And great match, guys. Great action from Callihan, great action from Miguel, back to back. There was a lot of stuff going on, guys, and it was very fun to watch. And then we have the Impact Tag Team Championship match. Finn Juice versus the Good Brothers. And your winners here was the Finn Juice, and they defeat the Good Brothers to retain the titles. And I'll give this a 2 out of 5. This was good. It was old-fashioned tag team wrestling, which was okay. Finlay sold his ass off as the babyface in the peril before Robinson exploded into the match and brought about a red-hot finishing sequence. The champions' reliance on old-school tag team moves from teams of decades past nearly cost them, but in the end, it was the challengers' reliance on the Magic Killer that proved their undoing. So determined to prove that they renewed their focus, the Good Brothers succumbed to the most simple of counters and enter Thursday's Impact Wrestling without the titles. And again, it was okay. It was a bit lackluster for me, guys, this one. It was okay. It did it did its purpose, but it could have been a lot better. Could have been a lot better. And then we have the Knockouts Championship match. Tennile Dashwood versus Deonna Purazzo. And it was Purazzo who defeats Tennile Dashwood to retain her title. And I'll give this a 3.8 out of 5. And the Purazzo is the best women's champion in the professional wrestling, and consistently great between the ropes. She can work with a variety of opponents and deliver great matches because her style complements so many others. She can work a ground-based match or spar with strikers when the situation calls for it. She can do sports entertainment thanks to the added element of Susan and Kimberly at ringside. We saw them get involved here, taking out Caleb and factoring heavily into the finish of the match. It was right around that time that things fell off a little, the focus no longer on the competitors between the ropes. Prior to that though, Purazzo continued to showcase her excellence while Dashwood wrestled her best match of the past year. And another fantastic match, guys. And the knockouts are proving to be fantastic, guys. There's a lot of stars in the knockouts division, and again, Impact proving us wrong here with a match like this. And again, we'll give this a 3.7 out of 5. Well, 3.8 out of 5. And then we have the title versus title match. Rich Swann versus Kenny Omega. And all of the hype, grandeur, pomp and circumstance came to a head in the night's main event as AEW World Champion Kenny Omega battled Impact Wrestling's World Champion Rich Swann in a title versus title match. One unified title holder guaranteed by night's end. Swann sent a message loudly and clearly, early and often to Omega. He delivered a Phoenix splash from the middle rope onto Omega on the floor, and then added some chops from the middle rope onto Omega on the floor, and then added some chops, about the chest, and kicks to the back as the babyface rolled. Omega suckered Swann in, though, and went to work establishing control. The AEW representative spiked Swann head first on the ring apron and added a Aew Cross for a near fall. Omega worked the head and neck, showing flashes of arrogance and overconfidence along the way. Swann countered a Kantara crusher and rocked Omega with a back mule kick to the face and standing frog splash for 2. He added a Frankensteiner from the ropes for another close call. The fight headed to the top ropes before both men slipped in an ugly, dangerous back body drop spot. Swann added a frog splash but could not quite hook the leg for the most effective cover. Omega fought back and delivered the V-trigger. He looked for the one wing angel but Swann escaped. Omega answered with a spinning heel kick to the back of the neck, the same body part the AEW champion focused his attack on earlier. Omega added another V-trigger and sat Swann up on the top rope for an avalanche one wing angel. Swann tried to slide out at the back with a sunset flip powerbomb in another ugly spot. The champions exchanged strikes before Omega rocked Swann with a snapdragon suplex. He added another as the commentary team questioned how much Swann's neck could withstand. Swann delivered one cutter that stunned Omega, but a second flattened Brian Hebner by accident. AEW referee Aubrey Edwards assumed control of the match, officiating as Omega retrieved a chair from ringside. Edwards prevented him from utilising the weapon and Swann executed the handspring cutter. Swann delivered the Richinoka driver but could not keep his opponent down for the count. Swann tried for the Phoenix Splash but missed. Landing on his feet, Omega tried for the one wing angel, but Swann fought out of it enough for Omega to opt for a German suplex instead. The AEW champion delivered a Dre Driller for 2 and executed consecutive V-trigger knees. Omega taunted Eddie Edwards and Willie Mack at ringside as he rocked Swann with another V-trigger. Swann finally shook off the V-trigger for one more Phoenix Splash attempt. He missed. Omega delivered another V-trigger and put Swann away with a one wing angel for the win. And the new champion celebrated his win with his titles Don Callis and the Good Brothers as Edwards and Mack tended to Swann. And your champion here, Kenny Omega defeats Rick Swann to win the Impact Championship. And again, I'm going to give this, guys, a 4.8 out of 5. Fantastic, man. It was absolutely fantastic. If nothing else, on the Rebellion pay-per-view, delivered. Omega vs Swann was the one match that absolutely had to knock it out of the ballpark. And again, it absolutely did. This match, guys, stole the show. They did, delivering a fantastic match and an early match of the year contender. Greatly, man. Absolutely. Swann was the valiant Impact representative, absorbing everything Omega threw at him and still having a chance to win the match late. The onslaught of V-triggers and a head and neck rock numerous times throughout the match left him unable to defend himself, weakening him to the point that Omega was finally able to deliver the much hyped one wing angel for the win. It was a great match, hurt only by the foregone conclusion nature of it. Fans of AEW who only watched that company's product likely had no idea this match was a thing. Again, absolutely, what a showdown, guys. What a showdown. Lot of action from Swann. There was loads of reversals, there was loads of counters, back to back, man. It was crazy, absolute crazy. Kenny Omega and Rick Swann brought their A game. Brought their A game at Rebellion, guys. It was an absolute stunner of a match, and it was fantastic. Fantastic. None of these guys could have done anything better. They did absolutely just what they needed to do, and that was just show up, guys. Just show up. It was fantastic, man. It was, what a slobber knocker that was, guys. What a slobber knocker. It looked like an actual fight as well. It looked like an actual fight. They literally worked an absolute stunning match. And then we move on to our